Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the best selections Roronoa Zoro from the raid on Onigashima. Here's the front, the side, the back, and the other side. Alright, well, let's get into it. Here he is straight out of the packaging and no crazy poses. With first impressions, he looks pretty good. I have no complaints on his looks. He looks like he came straight out of the anime. Taking a look at his accessories, we have all three swords sheathed. Enma, Wano Ichimonji, and Sandai Kitetsu. Taking a look at them all unsheathed, they all match their respective handles and blades. The Wano Ichimonji actually looks just like the one we got with the Romance Dawn. Taking a look at his hands, he has the fists and the open hands, kind of resting, and the sword grabbing hands, which are important. Then he comes with the replaceable armband, so he can have the bandana off, and a swappable head for the third style. Taking a closer look at his face, you can see that this is the best selection, so he doesn't have all the other facial expressions, but his faceplates are still removable, so you can do that. Alright, let's get a look into his articulation. Taking a look at his articulation, his head looks up about that much and down about that much, so not much range. But when you add in the neck, he looks down that much, but no more further up. Then for the ab crunch, it pops off. For the ab crunch, it's also non-existent. For the lower body, you can lean him forward that much, or backwards not at all. Then for his arms, they're going to lift up without popping out about that much, and they're going to, they pop upwards and downwards to get more range, but there's supposed to be a 360 swivel, and there's supposed to be a double jointed elbow. And then the normal rotation. And I'm going to put him up and we'll take a look at his lower half. Alright, now that the skirt has been removed, let's take a look at his lower half. Again, with it removed, we can see that he has a little more range and a lot more range going backwards. He must have saw something that was crazy funny. Continuing with the lower half, he can do a perfect side split. He's really been hitting the gymnastics lately. Now for his forward, you're gonna get about that much before his leg pops off because of this kind of like how they engineered this, which I don't know why they gave him this if the skirt was covering it up anyway. Then you get these two big nuts and bolts right here. They're huge. and very noticeable. Thanks, Zoro. Single jointed knees, just like the other, and yet put together with screws. I don't know why his lower half is so over-engineered, and yet his upper half is poorly engineered. Taking a look at the lower, he has an ankle swivel, or calf swivel, and then his foot goes forward and back, but it also sways and pivots to the side. And then he has the normal toe articulation. Alright, let's do some comparisons and final thoughts. Alrighty, taking a look at the height comparison, and we have Romance Dawn to take a look with Zoro from Onigashima, but we're gonna move him aside for now, and we're just gonna take a look at the two figures from Raid on Onigashima. Bringing them up close, they look pretty good together. There's definitely a massive height difference. Zoro towers over Luffy. Yeah, he's huge. Now, if you were collecting this line before they did anything else with it, and it was just Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, and you have, say Luffy and Sanji. I don't have Sanji yet. I'm looking for him. Would you want to pick up Zoro? I really want to love this figure. Zoro is one of my favorite characters from One Piece. He's not my favorite, but he is one of the favorites. And he is just awesome. This figure does not do him justice at all, which is very sad. They did the swords very nicely, and one of the main problems I have is that's as far range as he could go forward. So he can't do any of his iconic poses. And I'm not even going to attempt this arm because it's going to crumble as soon as I touch it. And I heard from many collectors that there's a lot of QC issues. Here are my problems with this figure. He doesn't have an ab crunch, and his lower half is trash. If you can get by this arm, there's a much better alternative. This falls off way too easily. They made this sit too high. If you decide to replace it, this one is it sits tighter on the arm. It's not as loose, and it sits very nicely. And when you put it on, it's not loose like the other arm is. So, I mean, it's not fun to pose him without his bandana, unless you want to keep him in the third sword style. But it does make the connection a little bit stronger. You're still gonna have to mess around with it a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's kind of like the same arm on this side, just a little looser. But besides the fact that it's loose, the only two complaints I have are the ab crunch and the skirt. And I can get over the ab crunch because it's not too bad, but I can't get over the skirt. Alright, let's put Zoro next to his Romance Dawn. Putting him up next to Romance Dawn, you can see the height difference is very slight. Our boy does not change in height, but he definitely does change in muscle. And I know a lot of people have been doing this, and I think it's kind of funny, so I'm going to do it too. I don't know if they just reuse the same sculpt, but look, Zoro's opened his second eye. He never got any eye injury in the first place. And, look at that. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Yeah, but they look like the exact same head sculpts. All right, let's get these faces switched back. It's kind of uncanny seeing Zoro with his eye open. Keep that closed, buddy. I know everybody's talking about all the One Piece theorists out there like, he's gonna open his eye. No, keep it closed. Keep it closed, buddy. Another thing I wanted to do is Zoro doesn't keep these swords for long. So why not... Oh, sorry, Zoro. Scooch over. Why not let's give him the Sandai Kitetsu. So, Sandai Kitetsu. And let me grab his accessories. Just whatever hand I've got. Alright, let's see if it fits. Yes, it does. Alrighty. Well, it looks like... we can have Zoro wielding Sandai Kitetsu. And let's remove this one. It doesn't look too bad. If we do give him Sandai Kitetsu, he mimics... Let's see if I can put him in any quick pose. He mimics what swords he was using when he, after his fight with Mihawk and he loses the two, and after Arlong Park, and he has the Wano Ichimonji, then he gets Sandai Kitetsu and another one. So you could have him posted up with 3 different swords if you give him the Sandai Kitetsu. But I think they should give our lovable Zoro a extension pack like they did Luffy, where he comes with the other swords and the other sheet, and maybe an extra faceplate, or like some drinking hands or something, so he can be more expressive, like they did the Gum Gum accessory kit with Luffy, and then now they're doing the Marineford Gum Gum accessory kit for Marineford Luffy. Alrighty. Up. Let's pose him up. And let's see what he can do.